Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. This share is sponsored by Living Chassidus and all the members that support it, to the donation in the campaign and to the monthly donation of the Chai Club that really makes this continue going. Thank you very much. Let's continue. So we're discussing in Pasha Vayikra, Adam when a person wants to bring himself. So the question was like this. It says in the pasuk, Adam ki yakim mikem when a person who brings, when he will bring from you, according to Hashem, such a weird language, and a person will bring from you. Why did you say when a person brings, what's it from you? So we said, and even more, that the whole idea of the Mishkan and the Mikdash, because we're talking about karbanos, is all connected to ourselves. Like we see, it says, "V'asel Mikdash v'shechanti b'seicham," should make me a sanctuary, and should dwell within them. Why I say within them? It means within all of us. We all have this space. We all have karbanos. We have to give. We have to understand all these things. And so now the pasuk Alter Rebbe explains, and what does it mean? Adam ki yakim mikem. It means like this. Then an Adam, and we said there's two ways of reading it. There's Adam, the person, ki yakriv, when you want to come close. It's one way of reading it. You can read it both ways. One is some person, when he wants to come close, you want to come close to godliness, it's mikem, it comes from you. Meaning, when you want to bring yourself closer, meaning bring your talents and what you make special to Hashem, mikem, it comes from you. And then we learned two different ideas here. We have the mikem, which means from you. Who's the you? That's your nefesh kiss. That's the true you. And then it says in the pasuk later on, I need a different types of nefesh b'hamis. And that's the sort of what we're talking about. And then when you come close to God, nefesh kiss, and this is sort of we end up to yesterday. We're going to continue today. The nefesh kiss inside itself doesn't need to come close to God. It is close to God. But the nefesh kiss, it's really getting the nefesh b'hamis to get close to God. Meaning, within ourselves and our lives, the nefesh kiss is a part of our lives that wants to do the right thing. The nefesh b'hamis is the one that doesn't want to do the right thing. But not even necessarily. Nefesh b'hamis is not necessarily, as explained on place of Chassidus. It's not that he wants to do bad, wants to go against godliness. It doesn't have that desire. And there's different ways of it expressing itself, like the different types of nefesh b'hamis. But it's essentially, the voice is not giving you, it's the voice that's not helping you make the right decisions. That's essentially what it is. Now let's continue on. Also, just I don't know if I said it yesterday, that this sikh is actually coming from Basil Lagani, Tafshin Yud Beis. So the Rebbe's second Basil Lagani. Yeah. So we're going to get into it a little bit. Okay. Remember the pasuk. Even this idea is that the idea that you have to work with the nefesh b'hamis specifically. We find it in the pasuk. It says mikem. When we says Adam ki yakim mikem nema karban la'avai. But whereas when it says mikem, which is talking about the nefesh l'kis, it says a karban la'avai, a karban to avai, to the level of godliness that is called avai. Whereas when talking about the nefesh b'hamis, wanting before avai. So you have the nefesh l'kis reaches the level of avai, and nefesh b'hamis reaches the level lifnei avai, before avai, meaning higher than avai. Lifnei nailel avai, before and above the name of avai. Mishum because the refinement of nefesh b'hamis reaches a higher level, like it says, many plowings is with the power of the ox. Meaning, and this is such a beautiful concept, because you have an ox, and that's your nefesh b'hamis. An ox is a rough, tough animal. It's not refined. It's not like a person. But if you're able to harness the energy of that ox, you can plow the fields all day, every day. Whereas with the nefesh elokis and the human, imagine taking a human and putting the yoke that the ox carries and try to go plow the field. You could barely do it once. You'd be kaput. And this is sort of the beauty of Chassidus, and this is sort of the challenge, that we have a wild animal within us. Now, as we said before, it expresses itself differently. We have an animal within us that, unfortunately, for most of us, is probably not even not tamed. But if we're able to harness that energy that it has, so then it can go places. You can imagine riding a horse, a comparison to walking. You have a horse within us. We all have this horse. We have this energy, or this power of the nefesh Bahamas, and unfortunately, it's not guided, and so it goes wild and drags us all over the place. If we can guide it in the right place, it can help us run. And that's what we're saying. And not just that, but like we're saying here, that you reach a level above and beyond the nefesh elokis. Like it says in a different maimer in same year actually, Tafshin Yud Beis. Asvatim Lachem, very famous maimer. That's first Eimer, and the Rebbe says over there that the nefesh Bahamas, either he doesn't care, or he's wild. He goes all in. He's all in. But nefesh elokis is very cold, very, very calm, collected. So the nefesh Bahamas is it's the challenge. It's having like a wild, a wild animal. A kid in a class. Sometimes you have a kid in a class that's like has a lot of energy, and he can grab the class. So if you use it out for good, then he helps the class. He or she helps the class go. Whereas if you don't know how to control it, it drags the class out of the way we want it to. And this is the nefesh Bahamas. We have to realize this, that we have a nefesh Bahamas within us. We have to realize if we're able to tap into it, and that's the goal, to tap into it, we can, and when we can use that and realize where's it going and use it in the right direction, we reach a level above and beyond. And like I said yesterday, it's on the theme that I've been noticing recently, is that it's chisara and it's maila. The issue with nefesh Bahamas is that it's wild, but that's also its maila. Meaning when we have something that's pulling us away, but that thing, and we can grab it and use it towards the good, can help us out. And that can reach us to the level above and beyond what we can do just by the nefesh elokis itself. And therefore, the carbon that comes from you from the nefesh elokis, magia rak l'shem havaya, only reaches the level of havaya. It's limited. Like we said last week about the level of adar versus of. We said that light by itself is limited. So amnam, that's enough shalakis. Amnam gamma carbon shemikem ein l'shem elikim trugmasha teva. Elikim is teva. He's saying even though we're not saying nefesh elokis is so bad, it does reach a level of havaya. It doesn't reach a level of elikim. Elikim is a lower level. It doesn't reach that. Here in l'shem havaya dafka. Kamuzba Bezak says Nazaya B'Yechas the pasuk Zevech Lekim Yecheras, and it says Nazaya in regards to the pasuk that he Zevech Lekim Yecheras Ela Sheim Zeis Ein Zeh Kala Haba Kititam Bir Nefesh Bahamas Bir Guf Nefesh Bahamas. But the level that is reached, meaning sort of there's three levels. There's a level of Elikim, the nature. Then there's a level of the Nefesh Elokis, doing the right thing, which is Havai, and then there's a level of Nefesh Bahamas being used for the good, and using the talents and the abilities that we have in the Nefesh Bahamas for good, and that reaches a level even above above the Nefesh Elokis. Totally above nature, way above and beyond everything. Like it says, through having a skafia, he translates it into Hebrew here. He goes, "Kasher nechfefes when you subjugate the sitra achra, sheira kavod kedushas it causes to dwell the kutsha the Holy One, blessed be He, b'chol olmim, in all worlds, which is a level of godliness that's equal." And what we're saying is that when you take the nefesh Bahamas and you learn to have hiskafia, to have self-control, to say to yourself, is this what I'm meant to be doing now? Is this the best thing for me? Should I do this or should I not do this? But we say to ourselves, but I want to have the cake. I want to go to bed late. I don't want to go to bed on time. Say, no, I need to go to bed on time. I need to make sure I have a good day tomorrow. Should I say this? I shouldn't say this. It's not good for me to say this. So am I speaking nice to myself? Am I speaking nice to other people? And we have the self-control and say, is this the right thing to do? And if it isn't, we don't do it. That's called the skafia. And when we do that, we cause godliness, a level of godliness that's equal to what we get, to what it gets in Atzilus, which is the highest world, which is way above and beyond. Comes equal in all worlds. That's what we draw down by doing this. This is such a powerful idea that we say, what do you mean? What am I achieving already? Tomorrow, I'm going to be the same person. I'm not going to change. So I went to bed on time, so I'll have some sleep. And then tomorrow, the morning, I'll be out of daven because I went to bed like a mensch and I daven a little better. But who cares? The rest of the day goes back to being my same old self. But what we're saying is that when you do that and you just go to bed on time with this machshava, with this thought, that causes a level of godliness way above and beyond anything we could imagine to come and express itself in here, which is ultimately bringing Mashiach closer. So that's the first sort of point. But then we're going to discuss next. But the problem is, what do we do? Part of the carbon is we learn is that carbon has to be pure, tamim. So too in the nimshal, in ourselves, we have to also figure out how we're doing. And what's going to happen, might look at ourselves and realize, hey, we're not so I'm not so pure, and I have something to work on. So how do we do with all this? And this is what we're going to learn today and tomorrow. It's Hashem. We'll start now. Gimel. Say that carbon is behema v'gashmius. To the order of bringing the animal, the physical animal. Haya tzayid rishon the davesh abehema tiyitzmima. We have to first check, make sure it's pure. You have to bring a pure animal to the mizbeach. Dusha isa bdika mukdemes im ein ba mum v'rak az yitzla carbon. You have to make sure there's no mum, there's no blemish, and only then it can be a good carbon. Now, what does that mean within us? Because like we said before and yesterday, everything we were learning about the carbonos and Beis Hamikdash is all within us. So who adavar carbonos ruchn so too spiritually without carbonos. Avodas carbonos behema ruchn is al spiritual behema nefesh behamis rich liyos over la carbonos nefesh behamis lavaye hishtadlus shabehema the nefesh behamis tiye shlema v'lo yebemum. We have to make sure to check that our nefesh behamis is also good, has no blemishes, nothing wrong with it. So therefore, the first part of the avodah. Till now, we're talking about you have to work with the nefesh behamis, you have to take and use the energy that it has, and that's the ability that nefesh behamis has, the power of the fire. When you get it to be used, that can get you places way above and beyond nefesh l'kis. But together with that, we also have to make sure that we have to work with nefesh behamis to make sure it's tamim. Therefore, a person has to search all the corners, so to speak, of his soul. With his seichel, with his intellect, with midas and his emotions, the befrat, with the garments that we have, with his machshava, the thought, speech, and action, in order to see what's the problem and to fix it. Finish off the paragraph. We'll bring this out a little bit before we go. In order to make this searching through the nefesh behamis, to make sure it's tamim, make sure it's good for our carbon, to do it properly, not just in the way of literally mitzvahs and nashmal, which is mitzvahs done by rote. People that are knowledgeable, we just do this, we already know this, we just do it by rote. Not like that, but doing it properly. We have to understand this affects our lives. It's not a joke. This is real stuff. So therefore, when we realize when I'm doing this cheshbon, when I'm checking myself out to see where am I holding and what can I be working on, and I realize it's very important what I'm doing, it can transform my life significantly. Then when we start to do it properly, and also whatever needs to be fixed, your vutzu, the pearl will actually get fixed. But this affects us. This is very important to us all. Meaning like this, and this is a very important point. People think when you learn Chassidus, and like you could mistakenly say when you learn this, You have to search and find all your mistakes. And you have to walk around talking about how bad you are and thinking to yourself, look how bad I am. I have all these mistakes. And we're going to get even more into this. I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person. And this is no further from the truth. To say you're a bad person is easy. The point what we're saying here is that we all have to recognize, and this is just the reality of life, that Chassidus on one hand shows you how much you need to work on yourself. The other hand shows you how much you can achieve. You have to realize that it's a balance. We have to realize we're talking about that we can transform the world, we can change the world. But in order to do that properly, you can't sit there doing nothing and expect to see these amazing changes. You can't transform, you have to take an Nefesh Bahamis, which is a wild ox, so to speak, and york it and use it out for good, if you don't also come and say, hey, what's going on? Where are we holding and what do we need to be working on? Not because I'm not good, but because I'm good and I'm valuable, I'm worth it. And it's worth me to put in that effort to figure out what's going on so I can make life better. And this is what we're saying here. And it's a very important point. So this is showing us what we said just paragraph before, that when we have iskafia, we just have that self-control, we transform the world in such a significant way. And we have to realize that we have this power. But together with that, we also have to realize if I have this power, am I using that to the fullest extent that I can? And if I'm going to sit there and just, and you know, like this, people have this mistaken thought of like, it's like, I don't care about, I don't do Avodah. But it doesn't make any sense. If we're not going to sit there and say, hey, where could I be working on myself? I'm going to put in significant effort to work on it because it's worth it. If you're not going to do that, then how are you going to achieve so far? You know, and anyone that's successful in anything, take any successful in anything, a sportsman, it doesn't come without any effort. They put in a lot of effort and they recognize where it needs to be worked on and what I'm not good at and what can I improve. And therefore they succeed. And so with us, we have to realize, we have to come and we should do a cheshbon, have to recognize where we're holding or what can I work on. And it's not that I can, you know, you might find, if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of things we need to work on. But it doesn't mean you have to go start working on every single thing at once, because it's not going to get you anywhere. It's the little things, you find something little you can work on, it can make a little impact, and it's easy, and you do it. And when you do it, you celebrate it, and you recognize that I'm doing exactly what it says in the Sikha. It's going to try, and that little thing that you do is going to transform my life. It's mentioned by all of us, and we'll be continued tomorrow. Have a great day.